When people look at Cristiano Ronaldo today, they usually see trophies, goals, records, luxury, and success. But what many people forget is that greatness is rarely built during easy moments, and Ronaldo's journey was not a straight line to the top, because behind every celebration and every achievement were difficult periods, criticism, pressure, setbacks, and moments where people questioned whether he could continue proving himself again and again. And one of the biggest reasons his story became so powerful is that he never stayed comfortable for too long, because every stage of his career brought a new challenge that forced him to grow. And that process started early when he left his home in Madeira to join Sporting CP at a young age, leaving family and comfort behind to chase a dream that had no guarantees. And later when he arrived at Manchester United, not everyone immediately believed he would become a global superstar, because in his early years some critics focused on his flashy style and questioned whether he could become efficient enough to dominate at the highest level. But instead of reacting emotionally, Ronaldo turned criticism into motivation and slowly transformed his game, developing better decision-making, improving his finishing, and becoming far more dangerous in front of goal, proving that talent alone was never enough, and that constant improvement was the real secret behind his rise. As the expectations around him increased, the pressure became even greater because every great performance raised the standard people expected from him. And by the time he became one of Manchester United's most important players, fans and media were already comparing him with the best footballers in the world, which created enormous pressure for a young player still learning and developing. But Ronaldo embraced those expectations rather than running away from them, and this mentality became one of the defining characteristics of his entire career, because whenever people doubted him, he seemed determined to answer through performances rather than excuses, and that attitude became even more important when he made the high-profile move to Real Madrid for a world record transfer fee, a move that immediately placed him under an intense spotlight where every match, every goal, and every result was analyzed by millions of people around the world. The challenge at Real Madrid was unlike anything he had experienced before because he was expected not only to perform well but also to justify the massive investment the club had made in him. And at the same time he was competing during an era that included some of the greatest players football had ever seen, creating one of the most competitive periods in sporting history. Yet Ronaldo refused to be intimidated by the challenge, and instead he elevated his game to extraordinary levels, scoring goals at a rate few players had ever achieved while consistently delivering in the biggest competitions and the most important matches. But even during those years of incredible success, criticism never completely disappeared because some people questioned aspects of his style, his personality, or his approach, and yet he continued moving forward, showing that resilience is often more important than universal approval. Another major challenge came from the physical demands of professional football itself, because maintaining elite performance for a few seasons is difficult, but maintaining it for more than a decade is almost unheard of. And as Ronaldo entered his late 20s and later his 30s, many experts predicted his decline would begin, arguing that age would eventually slow him down and reduce his effectiveness. But instead of accepting those predictions, he adapted his game intelligently, changing certain aspects of his movement, improving his positioning, and placing even greater emphasis on fitness, recovery, and nutrition, allowing him to remain one of the sport's most dangerous players long after many of his contemporaries had started to fade. His move to Juventus represented another test because changing countries, leagues, teammates, and tactical systems is never easy, especially for a player already considered a global superstar. Yet Ronaldo once again demonstrated his willingness to leave his comfort zone, and rather than choosing the safest option, he accepted the challenge of proving himself in a different environment, where expectations remained incredibly high. And once again he delivered goals, trophies, and memorable performances, reinforcing the idea that true greatness is measured not only by success, but by the ability to achieve success under different circumstances. International football also provided some of the most difficult moments of his career because representing a nation brings a unique type of pressure that club football cannot fully replicate. And for many years critics argued that Portugal would struggle to win major tournaments despite having one of the world's biggest stars. But Ronaldo remained committed to his national team through victories and disappointments alike, showing leadership and determination even during difficult campaigns. And eventually those years of persistence were rewarded when Portugal achieved historic success on the international stage, creating some of the most emotional moments of his career, and proving that patience and perseverance can eventually turn dreams into reality. Perhaps one of the most impressive aspects of Ronaldo's journey is how he continually found motivation even after achieving goals that would satisfy most athletes. Because once a player wins league titles, Champions League trophies, individual awards, and global recognition, it would be easy to relax. But Ronaldo consistently searched for new objectives, new records, and new ways to improve, demonstrating a level of ambition that became legendary among teammates, coaches, and fans, and this relentless mindset allowed him to stay competitive year after year despite the enormous physical and mental demands placed upon him. His story also reminds people that setbacks do not define a career unless a person allows them to, because Ronaldo experienced losses, criticism, disappointments, and moments when public opinion turned against him, yet he repeatedly responded by working harder, improving weaknesses, and returning stronger than before, and that pattern became one of the central themes of his career, showing that resilience is often the difference between temporary success and lasting greatness. In the end, Cristiano Ronaldo's legacy is not built only on goals, trophies, or records, although those achievements are remarkable, but also on his ability to confront challenge after challenge without losing belief in himself, because from a young boy leaving Madeira to chase a dream, to a global icon performing on football's biggest stages, every chapter of his journey required courage, sacrifice, discipline, and determination, and that is why millions of people around the world continue to admire him, not simply because of what he achieved, but because of how relentlessly he fought to achieve it. Becoming more clinical, stronger, and more complete, and after proving himself in England, a different type of pressure arrived when he joined Real Madrid because now expectations were no longer about potential. People expected perfection, every match was analyzed, every missed chance became headlines, and every comparison with other top players became global discussion, and despite producing incredible numbers, criticism never completely disappeared, because greatness creates higher expectations than normal success, and this became even more visible during difficult seasons and emotional defeats, where football showed its harsh side, reminding everyone that even legends experience disappointment, and throughout his career, Ronaldo repeatedly faced moments where people predicted decline, questioned his level, doubted his future, or expected younger players to replace him, but what made him different was his reaction. Because instead of accepting limits, he responded with work, adaptation, and consistency, changing his style of play as his career evolved and continuing to compete at elite levels across different stages of football. And perhaps that is one of the biggest lessons from Ronaldo's journey, because success is often celebrated publicly, but growth happens privately during difficult moments, and Ronaldo's ability to remain focused during criticism, maintain confidence during pressure, and continue improving after setbacks became one of the defining parts of his legacy, and that is why his story connects with so many people, because beyond football, it represents something universal. The idea that difficult periods do not have to stop progress, they can become the reason progress happens, and that is why Cristiano Ronaldo's dark times did not break him. They helped build the mentality that turned him into one of football's greatest icons.